once I deal with her, there'll be nothing left to say. She will just say, baby, ooh, here I am. Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time coming across my channel, thank you so much for clicking. I hope by the end of the video you actually realize that your energy and mine connect. I hope you realize, or I hope we connect, I hope we click, I hope our energies click so much we actually end up subscribing. And if there's this if this is home, welcome back. Okay, so the whole thing about, let's just dive into it. So this whole thing about having a partner or getting to know someone new and having to tell them where you stand about, you know, like premarital sex. Like, do you want to talk about it on the first day, or do you want to leave it until things get so heated up sexually and you're about to have sex with them but you don't want to because you've kind of made the decision to not to, and you are just caught in the moment and you don't know what to say to them. So this is something you actually have to consider, like before it's too late. You need to mention it so that they know what they're getting themselves into. The earlier the better, but the time frame is just half the job. It is half the job. You can tell him on the first date, you can tell him on the 5th date, you can tell him 6 months in, but that's not the real job. The real job is actually telling them, you know, like, how do you tell them that, hey, no, bro, I don't have sex anymore, I don't fornicate any longer? Because at the heart of it, that's the difficult one. That's the job, that's the heavy thing. So before, obviously, I give you kind of a few approaches to take with this matter, I just want you to remember a few truths, or a couple of truthful reminders that you can just engrave in your heart or in your head, whichever one you choose to take. Okay, hopefully you put it on your heart and engrave it on your heart, because that's where it matters the most. He who has the heart has the treasure. Okay, so the first thing is, you choosing to take this path is your decision. It is a decision that you made, and as a result, whoever wants to be a part of your life has to accept that you have made this decision. It is not for them to come in and kind of move you away from that and confuse you a little. And to be quite frank, you don't want to seem like a confused person. You would rather say something on one day and stick with it to the end, instead of saying one thing today and changing it tomorrow and changing the day after and changing it the day after, because then you make it seem like you're so confused. It seems like you don't actually know what you want as a person. So the first thing to remember is that you have chosen this. This is a decision that you have taken. This is a decision that you have said to yourself, you know what, this is what I stand for. And since it is what you stand for as a person, don't forget this when you're meeting a new person. I know it gets so complicated and you're like, wow, look at me, hey, look at me, you know? If you have been single for a very long time, having a person who comes in and just starts taking out on dates and doing stuff with you and doing all these amazing fun things can be really confusing to your head. It will scatter your brain. You'll be like, hey, what is this? You'll be like, hey, what am I saying, you know? Because perhaps you've forgotten that. Perhaps, obviously, maybe you do these things for yourself, but obviously having another person do these things for you is just, it's a different ballgame altogether. I remember that this is a decision you've taken. If you would like, you can actually share with a friend or two that, hey, like, this is a decision I've made, and I know in the next couple of months I might actually shift from it, so I need you to bring me back to action. Like, I need you to bring me back to order when I eventually do stray away. The second thing you need to remember is that not everyone will accept this decision of yours. And that's just the painful truth. I'm not saying, but it's true. Not every person you meet is going to accept this decision that you have taken. Other people will look at you and actually outright call you crazy. That's the truth of the matter. Other people might look at you and think, okay, like, she's joking, she's gonna change her mind. Like, once I show her what I can do, once I deal with her, there'll be nothing left to say. She will just say, baby, ooh, here I am. But obviously we know that's not the truth, because obviously if you have held on for so long, this is a decision you don't want to let go because a man has come running into your life. So yeah, other people will look at you and call you crazy. Other people think you're going to change your mind, and other people will actually have a problem with it at the beginning. And maybe if they see that you're worth, or that you're saying you want to wait and stuff like that, if they see that you're really worth it, then they will change their mind and decide to wait with you. But the special group is the group that will come and listen to it and take it and accept it. And I'm like, babe, you're worth it. You know, like, you're worth it. And that's the kind of person you want to attract. That's the kind of person you want to be with. The person who sees your worth despite your sexual stand. Like, that's not the only thing there is to you. There's so much more than just your legs. There's so much more than what's between your legs. You're way more valuable than just, what's between your legs. So that's the other thing to remember. And then the last thing you probably need to remember before like getting to the whole how do I tell him thing is the fact that there's a man for you out there. God has a man for you out there. Like, legit, God has a man for you out there. And if you settle for the wrong man just because you feel there's nothing better coming anytime soon, and you really are settling with the spirit of desperation, then you will miss out on the potential great person you could have been with just because you are impatient. So do not be impatient. When people come and go and they say they don't want to take it, be okay with it. Do not grow impatient, So continue praying. Ask God to give you the spirit of patience so that you can bear it, you can stomach it. When people come and they call you, hey, until you they crazy, or nice sister, or they ask you, like, they could ask you anything. You're just crazy on your own. You're in your own league, okay? When these things happen, just remember another man out there is that God has secured a man for you already. Like, God has bagged a man for you already. And if you're a guy, God has already set aside a man for you. If you're a man, God has set aside a girl for you already. She is beautiful and career driven and family oriented and all these amazing things. So hey, that sounds like me, but anyway. Oh my God, it's time to keep it together. But anyway, that's not the point. So guys, so how to tell him? Simple thing is just tell him. Yeah, just tell him. In the way you have it in your head. If in your head it's written or it's phrased as, I don't want to have sex because I'm saving myself for my husband, tell him exactly that. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it and start thinking, oh yeah, so like I've just made this decision to, close my legs and like not open them until like after I throw a bouquet and like I do a bouquet toss, and like, don't confuse the guy. In a bit to kind of wrap it around in nice words, you actually might end up confusing the guy. So just say it. I'm reserving myself for marriage. Or if in your head it says, I have moved away from fornication and I just really want to have sex with my husband only. Or if you have in your head as I used to fornicate and I realized God has called me to something greater than that, and I don't want to do the whole sin thing. Because you need to make it certain, like, you need to communicate why you are being celibate. Like, I think, obviously, you don't actually need to, but I think it would be better accepted if you presented your view with your reason. So if it's the fact that you don't want to fornicate because it's sin, tell him, I used to sin a lot in this particular manner, but since then I have moved away from it, and I feel I know God with certainty is calling me up to a place where I save myself up for marriage, or I save myself for my husband, or I save myself for the man who I know will wake up next to me every single day of our life as he has vowed to. So yeah, if you're not going to sleep with him because you are like you're trying to be a better person, because I've heard guys who said that. Like, one particular guy said to me he was celibate because he just felt that he needed to restructure his life. I was like, oh, okay. But then the problem with that is our reasons were different. I was doing it because I didn't want to fornicate. It was sin. It's sin. I didn't want to do it. And he was doing it because he just kind of felt he wanted to, stabilize his life. So inevitably we had problems there, and he kept pushing for sex. And obviously we're not together because we're not together. I mean, the problem with those scenarios is that it is so difficult to handle. And if the guy has no willpower if he does not have the willpower to actually stick it out and say, okay, we're not going to have sex there. Well, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because every time he's going to want to sleep with you. And if you keep putting yourself in situations where there's no boundaries, I'm hoping by now you've actually watched the boundaries video. If you haven't watched the video to this at this point, after this, please go watch that video because that is the video you need to actually watch. But anyway, I'm doing this for different reasons. It might cause problems in the future. However, if you're doing this for the same reasons or similar reasons, it will really go a long way because it means you're both fighting for the same goal and you're both trying to get there. It's not just one person trying to get there, you know. But yeah, tell him as it is in your head. That's just how I'm going to tell you. If you are scared of telling him because you're scared that he's going to run away, just go back to the 3 reasons that we mentioned as we started the video. If you're still scared, then fear and Jesus don't go together. They don't go together. So it's either the devil's using fear to control you, or you actually deep down in your heart know this guy is not gonna stay and he's just not the guy God has to me, but you're just stalling because it's breaking your heart. And if that's the case, I get you, sis. It is hard. It is hard, especially if you like the guy. But you know what? The pain is worth it. You're going to remember the pain when you're married and you realize just how good a decision you actually made is helping your marriage thrive. I've listened and talked to people who waited till marriage, and just having conversations with them just makes me want to wait too. I'm like, give me that. I want it too. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Hey, give it to me. Hey, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. It was so lovely hanging out with you. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe and share and comment. Bye.